Wonderful. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Attorney General Dave Sunday, and I'm here to announce that we filed today a civil complaint in Philadelphia County Court against Snapchat regarding conduct that puts users, specifically young people, at great risk. The lawsuit alleges breaches of Pennsylvania's consumer protection laws and seeks honesty from Snapchat in how they market their platform. The lawsuit also demands that Snapchat finally come clean about the addictiveness of their app and takes real action to protect young users. This is a very serious legal action with the end goals of being an overhaul of how Snapchat markets and advertises its app. Design changes to discourage compulsive use and safeguards so that families can decide what their children can access online. You may recall that my office took similar action earlier this month with a lawsuit against TikTok. That lawsuit also alleges violations of Pennsylvania's consumer protection laws. It also regards dishonesty in marketing and that its addictive design harms users, particularly young people. Both of these actions reflect my priority as Attorney General to protect our young people from tech giants who are choosing growth at all costs over the mental wellness of its users. Further, my office remains engaged in a multi-state suit against Meta that is currently underway in California. Joining me today are members of my office's Public Protection Division and Senator Tracy Pennycook, who chairs the Senate Communications and Technology Committee. You will hear from her shortly. First, I will offer more on the legal action taken by my office with regard to Snapchat. So we allege two categorical breaches of consumer protection laws. One, Snapchat's dishonesty about what material appears on its app, leading to a 13+ rating on its app store. Two, Snapchat's highly addictive design and the company's unwillingness to protect kids from compulsive use. We allege that Snapchat knowingly lies to consumers about how often adult-themed material, such as drug use, suicidal ideation, and sexual content appear on its platform. They do so to achieve the 13+ rating in app stores. You see it here on the board. This rating vastly expands and increases Snapchat's customer base. And so right there, it's highlighted where it says age rating 13+. That's what we're talking about here. And once they have you signed up and logged in, you are officially in their clutches. From there, Snapchat essentially says, good luck getting out. The average daily Snapchat user opens the app more than 30 times a day, and that is astounding. Snapchat keeps users in its grip by providing an engrossing experience from the moment the users tap open the app. They do so in a variety of ways, and I'll highlight a few. Snapchat rewards frequent engagement and penalizes users who step away for a period of time. That is the Snap Streak feature. If you haven't seen it, here it is on the board as well. You see the flame here that signifies a streak or number of consecutive days a user has messaged or sent photos to a friend. If you take a day off, that fire goes out. And to a teenager, that is not good. To a 13, 14, 15-year-old, social acceptance is everything. It is absolutely everything, and it is paramount to them. We allege this streak feature puts a tangible value on friendships and influences a child's feelings of self-worth. Snapchat ingrains in our kids' mentality, the more I am on Snap, the more friends I will have, and the more socially accepted I will be. That exploits the fear of missing out culture to the absolute extreme. I mentioned similarities between the Snapchat and TikTok lawsuits, but there are differences in the actual apps themselves, specifically how Snapchat lures young users into an immersion of infinite scroll and constant view and send. I just explained the Snap Streak feature, and it is a powerful force. But we allege Snapchat's secret weapon that weapon that sets it apart from all of its competitors. And it's a secret. At least that's what Snapchat wants children to think, that it's a secret. Sent photos and messages disappear once they are viewed, or a day passes, whichever comes first. I want to say that again. Sent photos and messages to people on Snap that are using Snap, they disappear once they are viewed or a day passes, whichever comes first. This ephemeral component is extremely alluring and can lead to compulsive use. Yet, it's Snapchat's biggest draw for youth. The result? About half of Americans' teens use Snapchat every single day. Half. We allege Snapchat's design encourages users, kids mainly, to post things that they typically might not. For example, a selfie that may be considered too revealing in another setting. A young user may think, oh well, this will be gone tomorrow, so it's fine. I can go ahead and send this picture. It's all good. So they hit send. Or maybe someone is doing something their parents would disapprove of, or doing something risky. A young user thinks, no worries. Only my friends are going to see it, and they'll think it makes me look cool. So guess what? They hit send. Try as Snapchat might to make users believe that gone means gone, we all know that once something is sent or posted on the internet, it is never truly gone. But do our kids know that? And if they do, can they fully grasp the ramifications of that? A simple screenshot can turn what they thought was a temporary photo into a permanent nightmare. Snapchat's ephemeral component also harms children in other ways. We allege it encourages predators online to be even more aggressive in contacting and grooming kids. The fleeting nature of Snapchat provides users with a false sense of security. And predators doing exactly what predators do, prey on children. And they prey and they use that instrument that's available to them to try to get to children. I can't think of anything more concerning than predators having access to kids in arenas where they feel even more free to act deviantly. And that same feeling of freedom could also apply to cyberbullies who might think that they can get away with posting more on Snap, where their threats, their insults, and their destructive commentary will simply disappear. While it is an absolute honor being Pennsylvania's Attorney General, my number one job is dad to my 11-year-old son. Being a parent in 2026 is very hard work. Modern technology, for all of its vast benefits, has really opened up a wild west of potential threats to our children. It is critical that we talk with our kids and learn as much as we can about what they are doing on their phones. It's essential that parents have the knowledge to make recommendations about what can empower and provide their kids happiness and what causes unnecessary stress. To be able to make those recommendations, parents rely on transparency in the marketing of tech products. And I want to say this again, this is really important. To make those recommendations, parents rely on transparency by these companies in the marketing of the tech products. This lawsuit outlines the many ways that we allege Snapchat is falling woefully short of that. I don't know of any parent who has the time to fully explore all of the social media platforms available to our kids. We live in a world today where kids are nonstop online, where they're on social media apps. The apps are changing frequently. Children are utilizing online tools at school. It's a place now where they live, and we allege and we know that parents, for a parent to be able to know what are on these apps. They need something to rely on, and when they rely on information that is not accurate or true, then they are absolutely put in a position where they can't make these best decisions. Parents rely on these ratings in the app stores to inform those decisions about what platforms they want to direct their kids to and also direct their children away from. And during this investigation on Snapchat, we found a mountain of evidence indicating that Snapchat knows how addictive its platform is and knows their design successfully causes compulsive behavior. I say successfully because our investigation indicates that is exactly what Snapchat wants. Compulsion, fear of missing out, constant open, scroll, and send. Anything to increase revenue and keep up with their competitors. Snapchat has received complaints and reports, hundreds of thousands of them, about harmful features on their app. And they respond to a minuscule fraction of those complaints, 0.2% to be exact. That is how often Snapchat responded to parents and others who reported self-harm or suicide-related content on the app. Out of more than 300,000 reports, Snapchat responded to less than 1%. That's unacceptable, and it's wrong. In short, this lawsuit and our previous actions are not about taking on the role of parents. It's about empowering parents with the tools that parents need to make decisions for their children. If apps are misleading parents about how those very apps work, how can they make sound decisions for their children? They can't. And that's why we are announcing this action today. A few months back, at the conclusion of our Teen Talk, and for those of you that are not familiar with our Teen Talk, this is our Teen Talk report that we put together as a result of it, but a few months ago at the conclusion of our Teen Talk program for the 25-26 school year, I stood on a stage and I told Pennsylvania families that if big tech companies don't start looking out for their consumers, then I would take action. And here we are. Today's action against Snapchat and recent action against TikTok and Meta demonstrates that we are showing up in court to protect our children and vulnerable Pennsylvanians from potential harms that big tech can bring to our children. When big tech misleads parents into thinking their platforms are safe for children, they are risking the safety and the well-being of our most precious responsibility. Pennsylvania is engaged in this fight to empower parents with the facts and tools that they need to protect our kids from misleading and harmful apps. We won't stop until we secure meaningful changes that address these concerns on these platforms. This complaint will be available to all of you, so you can read through the many details and the many allegations. What I covered really is just the tip of the iceberg. So at this time, I want to welcome the next speaker, and I want to thank her for her leadership and partnership in protecting children from the harms of modern technology, like unregulated social media, AI, and chatbots. I want to emphasize the importance of partnerships at the legislative level to achieving shared public protection and safety goals. This is an issue that has attracted interest from both chambers and both sides of the aisle. And at this time, I will introduce Senator Tracy Pennycook, who leads the Senate Communications and Technology Committee. Senator Pennycook has helped protect Pennsylvania's children from AI-generated CSAM, authoring a law to give prosecutors the tools needed to prosecute that crime, and recently, through legislation, established a new task force that I will lead on protecting children in the digital age. Finally, she authored Senate Bill 1090, or the Safe Chat Act, which puts safeguards around exploitive chatbots and AI technologies. That bill received 49 bipartisan votes in the Senate, Incredible work, Senator. Thank you so much, and the podium is yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Attorney General Sunday, and I want to thank you for your partnership in this very important work. When it comes to protecting children, strong laws and strong enforcement must work hand in hand, and your office is amazing to work with, so I thank you for that. The lawsuit that we're discussing today is very simple. Parents deserve the truth, and children must be protected. Powerful technology companies must, and I say must, be held accountable when they mislead families. A 13+ rating should be a promise to parents, not an advertising loophole. Parents should not have to reverse engineer an algorithm to understand what a company is putting in front of their children. This lawsuit alleges that TikTok downplayed the prevalence of mature content on its platform while deliberately using features designed to keep young people scrolling, watching, and coming back. When a company places engagement and advertising revenue ahead of a child's well-being, Pennsylvania has a responsibility to act. The digital age has created extraordinary opportunities, but it's also given bad actors, and sometimes the platforms themselves, unprecedented access to our children. We are seeing harm driven by algorithms that are designed to exploit young people's attention. We're seeing predators use this technology to reach children that otherwise they would have no access to. We are seeing artificial intelligence weaponized to create abusive materials and manipulate victims. Many of these threats were unimaginable 2 or 3 years ago. Today, they can reach a child through the phone in their pocket. Technology has changed, the threats have changed, and our laws must change with them. That is why I introduced Senate Resolution 244, establishing the Task Force on Child Protection in the Digital Age. Chaired by Attorney General Sunday, this task force will systematically review our laws, identifying emerging dangers, and recommend the changes necessary to keep our children safe. It's not simply to be reactive. It is to identify those gaps in our laws that can prevent harm from happening. This builds upon the work we've already done. Act 125 of 2024 strengthened our laws against sexual deepfakes and AI-generated child sexual abuse material. Act 35 of 2025 classified malicious deepfakes as digital forgeries. The Senate has also passed Senate Bill 1050 to strengthen mandatory reporting requirements involving AI-generated child sexual abuse material, and Senate Bill 1090 to protect young people from dangerous AI chatbot interaction. Not long ago, Attorney General Sunday and I sat across from victims whose images had been manipulated into AI-generated CSAM, where we saw the real harm that can be done. Innovation does not come with a license to exploit children. No company's size, wealth, or algorithm should be placed above accountability. Technology moves really fast, but Pennsylvania is going to move faster. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. So next, I would like to acknowledge Representative Joe Cerisi, who chairs the House Communications and Technology Committee. He was planning to be here with us today, but he's ill. He asked that I read this brief statement on his behalf. This litigation, along with the Attorney General's other active endeavors to hold big tech and social media companies accountable, are essential to keeping our kids safe online. I have offered legislation to address growing concerns with AI companionship applications and have written legislation to mandate the Office of Attorney General to conduct an AI safety program through education and PSAs. That bill received overwhelming support in the House, and I hope the Senate will take it up when we return this fall. So thank you, Rep. Cerisi. I appreciate his statements, and I know he can't be here, but he's been a wonderful partner with us as well, and a tremendous advocate for these very same issues. I echo his call on that legislation. Education is the absolute key to victory, to empower Pennsylvanians with knowledge about the use of AI and the potential harms that come with it. I want to thank both chairs for their words and for their work on these issues. Thank you very much. Protecting Pennsylvanians from harm from big tech, this is not a partisan issue. It's one of the areas that I found bipartisan desire to get important things done. I hope we can get some of these initiatives that we spoke of to the governor's desk this fall to strengthen our protections for all Pennsylvanians. With that, I will take what questions I can take with regard to this. And if you just bear with me 1 second here. Let me move this. Move my Teen Talk guide over if anyone would like to see that later. So if anyone has any questions at all, we'll do our best to answer them. Yes, sir.
So, Attorney General, what changes would you like to see Snapchat make? Should they raise the age limit? What would you like to see?
So a couple things. So the first one, right off the bat, and it's important for people to understand the gist of this lawsuit, right? So I am a parent, but I'm a parent. You know, my son, if he was allowed to, would be on, let's say he's downloading some social media apps. As a parent, I'm like, okay, well, let's see if this is okay for my 11-year-old. Well, there's an age rating of 13 plus. Let's say my son happened to be, 14, right? Okay, well, there's an age rating of 13 plus. That means that this is okay for my 14-year-old to use. What we want, number one, is we want to make sure that the correct information is being provided to the app stores so that that rating accurately reflects what a young person's experience will be when they're on the app. So that's number one. That's unbelievably important. There are so many other issues with regard to Snapchat in particular, and I'm sure once everyone reads through the complaint, you'll see many of them. But the way that Snapchat is set up, where the text and the pictures disappear, that creates an entire I'm going to say an entire environment that is rife for child predators to come in and try to get to these children. And so our hope is that there will be safeguards, and we're going to fight for that are put in place with regard to the ephemeral nature of how these pictures disappear. In addition to that, when this lawsuit also covers the addictive nature of Snapchat. I mean, it's not a secret that the whole goal here on part of Snapchat and some of these other companies is to keep children staring at that for as long as humanly possible. Because when the longer someone stares at that, then the more money they can make. And so we want to make sure that the algorithm itself is either turned off or changed in a way or modified so that children aren't constantly being pulled into this purposefully designed system to addict them so that they don't ever stop looking. And so in a nutshell, that's what we're looking for. And I guarantee that as we proceed, it'll be a lot more nuanced than that. Obviously, we're also seeking civil penalties, but we want to see a change in the way that these companies are using the science behind them and harming children.
Attorney General Sunday, are you looking at other social media companies that target children too?
What I can say is we're looking at any company that uses the technology they have to harm children. And so, I mentioned earlier we sued TikTok last week. We're right now in the throes of litigation with Meta. Protecting children is one of the absolute priorities of my office, and we're going to continue to do so. And so I don't want to go into great detail on that, but I will tell you that we are actively looking at other companies as well. Yes, sir.
A quick follow-up question, because there are some lawsuits against X, for example, for very similar concerns. Is X in that mix of things that you're looking into?
Any company that's using their product to harm children is someone we're looking at. All right. Hearing no further questions, thank you everyone for covering this. I appreciate you being here and have a wonderful day.